I just want to ask, what's the difference between feelings and mental formation?
What's the difference between feelings and mental formations?
Feeling is a mental formation. Feeling is one of the 51 mental formations.
You have give some example of some of the mental formation like mindfulness, joy, fear, anger, craving, compassion. Those are mental formations, but I thought those are also feelings. So you mean there are other examples of so-called mental formations that are, and those examples you gave, I thought those are all feelings. So do you mean that there are other mental formations beside that, or do you mean that those examples you gave, some are feelings and some are mental formations?
There are 51 categories of mental formation, and feeling is just one. But because feeling is so important, that's why we have to think it out. And the last four exercises of mindful breathing, they are in the realm of perception. Perception, and perception is just one mental formation.
You mean the last four? Sorry. You mean the last four, as in regarding the minds and the perceiver and the perceived, the mind and the objects of the mind. You are talking about that is also a mental formation.
Because it's about right perception and wrong perception. And the four exercises of mindful breathing in the sutra is about how to get the right perception about reality. So you have the meditation on impermanence, on non-craving, on nirvana, and on letting go, and all of that are about perception. And perception is a mental formation. So feeling is a mental formation, perception is another mental formation, and there are 49 others that can be classified in the third category. That's mind. You see that there are four foundations of mindfulness: body, feeling, mind, and object of mind. So feeling is one mental formation, perception is one mental formation, and mind has the other 49 mental formations.
Feelings, do you mean that when you scan your body, the feelings like come from your heart area, and the so-called mind or mental formation comes from the mind, as in what the thoughts, your discriminating mind, and also regarding the objects of mind is how you perceive. Do you mean that, as in, I repeat again, that means feelings is how you feel inside this heart area, and mind as in your thoughts, your discriminating mind, your mind consciousness, and the objects of in mind as in what you perceive through the five senses.
Are feelings things that you feel in your body? And mind are things, the mental formations, and objects of mind are things that you perceive outside of you. Just to get more clarity on what is the difference between feelings, mind, and objects of mind.
Feeling is mind, because feeling has the feeler and what is felt. Every mental formation has subject and object in it, whether that is a feeling or a perception. It always includes the perceiver and what is perceived, subject and object. All the 51 mental formations are like that, consisting of subject and object. Clear enough?
Not very sure. She's not very sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sensations in her body and mind.
So the feelings actually is in mind.
So
I feel that the feelings are my emotions, my heart, my feelings, and my mind as in my thinking. So there is a separation inside me. That's why maybe the answer is so confusing.
Thinking is just one mental formation. Thinking is just one of the 51 mental formation. Because thinking has also subject and object. So when there is thinking, there is one mental formation called thinking. Thinking is not all the mind. Mind is more than thinking.
So the example you do, fear, anger, craving, love, joy, mindfulness, concentration, those are all feelings, is it? Or?
They are all mental formations.
Some members of Gran Canaria Shanga have gone or go actually as volunteers to Gran Canaria Hospital to visit palliative department. I mean, the people who doctors say that maybe they're going to die in 3 days or maybe in 3 minutes. Sometimes we see that the pain is too much. I feel like it doesn't make sense because even medicines don't relieve them. So sometimes I think that if any of the patients, if they would ask me to help them to kill themselves, I think I will do so. Because I have the feeling, because I see so horrible pain, I had the feeling that would be the right action. I don't care about karma. I will carry with it. So I would like if you could tell us something about if one have the feeling that something is the right action, it is the right action, even if it's somebody asks you to kill her or him. In that case, I mean, in palliative, in hospital, when pain is so too much.
When there is pain, there must be ways in order to alleviate, to reduce pain. There must be ways in order to reduce pain. And if we have not found any way to reduce the pain in us, we might be tempted to kill ourselves. But the question is whether we have explored all kinds of ways in order to help relieve the pain. We should not be sure that we have already tried our best. So suppose the pain is 100%. And if you can do something in order to reduce it to 90%, that is something already. If it is not done by medicine or other kind of means, it might be that your presence, which is calm and compassionate and fresh and healing, is a kind of energy. You are there as a source of energy. If you are peaceful, you are calm, if you are compassionate, and then your presence close to a person who is suffering can have an effect already. Just your presence. You have not done anything yet, but your presence there can already produce a kind of change. It's like a tree standing outside. The tree does not seem to be doing anything at all. But the fact is that when we touch the tree, when we sit at the foot of the tree, we feel that the energy of the tree is penetrating into us. There's a non-action, but it has a power and energy. So the doctor, the nurse, the social worker, they may have used the techniques, the know-how to help, but maybe they have not been able to offer their best. It's their compassion, their peace, their calm. And when the people who suffer interact with such a presence, he or she will feel better, if not 50% and maybe 70% or something like that. So it's too easy to say that, there is nothing you can do. The only thing you can do is to help him or her to die. So you have to explore. You have to learn more. And there are ways in order to handle the pain in us. The Buddha said that we have to learn how to handle the pain. We suffer more or less. It depends on how we handle the pain in us. There is physical pain and there is a mental pain. And if you add mental pain to physical pain, it will be unbearable. But if in your mind you are not too overloaded with anger and fear and despair, and then you have the capacity to handle the pain in you much better. In Buddhism, we learn that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. That is why if we know how to handle our mind, we will suffer less the pain in our body. And the Buddha said that suppose someone is hit by an arrow and there is a pain. But if a second arrow comes and strikes exactly at the same spot, the pain will not only be doubled, but maybe 10 times stronger. So the worry, the anger, or the despair of our mind is the second arrow. If we don't let the despair, the anger, the frustration, the fear overwhelm us, and then we will have maybe enough capacity to handle the physical pain. So when you have some pain in your body, your practice is to breathe in and out and to recognize it as it is and do not exaggerate. If you exaggerate, you think that you are going to die very soon, you cannot escape, and anger and fear and despair come, and then the pain will be multiplied by 10 times, 100 times. So the teaching of the Buddha is do not allow the second arrow to hit you. With the first arrow, you have to practice looking deeply to see the importance of the pain and not to exaggerate. And if we know how to handle the mind, and then we can reduce the pain and we can transform the pain. And this is a technique. And in the realm of, in the domain of medicine, I think we have to train doctors and nurses and psychotherapists and others to do the practice. This practice recommended by the Buddha. Of course, we do not have the right to to remove the other option, help someone to die. But that may be the last alternative. So you have to work more on that, and we should sit together, and we should bring our experiences together and learn more. We should not be too sure.
Dear Thai, I love you very much. You have transformed my world, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Dear Thai, I can see in you all the elements that are non-Thich Nhat Hanh elements. I can see that you are your mother. I can feel that you are your father. I can understand that you're all your ancestors, that you are your teachers. I can understand that you are the sun and the moon and the earth and the food and the stars. I'm beginning to understand that I'm made up of non-Tam elements, that I am made up of my mother, my father, all my beautiful ancestors. I'm made up of my teachings. I am also made up of the Buddha and all my friends and all the earth and the wind and the stars and the food and the animals and the life. Dear Thai, every morning after the beautiful chanting and the prayers, the brother or the sister they invite to honor the inferiority complex, the superiority complex, and the equality complex. All my life I have felt very, very small, and I always see the teachers and the deep practitioners and the monks and the nun as so far ahead of me and so much greater than my small self. I am trying to learn how to embrace the understanding of this deep teaching, because my vocation in life, I hope, will be to learn to love myself more fully so that I can love the universe more fully. Dear Thai, please can you help me to understand how I can embrace the superiority complex teaching, and why is it that I should understand the equality complex teaching? Because I don't feel equal with you, and surely I need to be understanding to feel equal before I can release.
We still remember the day when we had that question and answer with the scientist. He said that only human being has the capacity to think, to create, to reason, and so on. And it seems that many people think that human beings are the best species on Earth, and they may look down on the other species. And they said that we have to learn to look differently. When we look into us, we see that we are made of ancestors, And we have not only human ancestors, but we have also animal ancestors. Animals are our ancestors. And we have vegetal ancestors and mineral ancestors. And all our ancestors are still in us. And without these ancestors, we cannot be there in order to think, to imagine, to reason, to produce a thought. So when we produce a thought, all our ancestors in us collaborate in order to produce that thought. So that is not the work of the human alone, that is the work of the animal, the vegetable, and then the mineral. So everyone is participating in producing that thought. Whether that thought is a thought of hate, or a thought of fear, or a thought of compassion, that thought is created together by all our ancestors in us. So when you see things like that, you are free. Suppose the feet, my feet, become jealous of my eye. It's stupid. My feet that, well, the eye is up there. And the eyes can see many things. And the eyes might be proud. No, I am up here, I can see everything. Without me, you will go, you will stumble, you will fail, you will fall. So that kind of thinking is not right thinking, because the foot and the eyes do not see in a light of interbeing. In Buddhism, we learn that it is not the eyes that see things, and that is true. It's not the eyes that see things. The eyes is only one of the conditions for seeing. There are a lot more conditions in order for the seeing to be possible. The eyes is one of the many conditions. So if the eyes realize that, she is not caught by the complex of superiority. There are nerves, optic nerves, there are all kinds of nerves. There are cells in the body. Everything in the body contributes to the seeing. And the eye is just one of the many conditions for seeing. So if the foot realizes that, she has no complex, because she contributes to the seeing. You see? And the eye should know that if there is no foot, the feet is not there, the eyes cannot go to Bordeaux, go to Plum Village, and then the eyes will see that the foot is equally important than the eyes, and no complex whatsoever can prevent everything in the body to collaborate with each other, like a beehive. We know that in our body there are trillions of cells, and they work together. They work together for the well-being of the body. And every thought, every perception is a feeling is made by the whole body, and not just some neurons and so on. So when Thầy is able to say something nice, you participate in that act. We do it together. We are together, always together. There is no separation at all. So every atom, every particle, every pebble participate in the work of the earth. The earth is a bodhisattva. And if the earth is able to produce people like the Buddha and the saints, the bodhisattvas, well, we are part of the earth, and we participate in producing Buddhas and bodhisattvas and saints. We should not have any complex. We are together. So if someone is creating suffering, destruction, we know that we are co-responsible. There may be things that we can do or refrain to do in order for that not to happen. You cannot say that I'm not responsible. That's he who did it. So we are all together, and that is the kind of insight, kind of view that we have to cultivate, right view, the view of interbeing. No separation at all, no discrimination at all. And with that kind of insight of the view of interbeing, we are free from afflictions, including complexes.
Thank you, that really understand. The entire summer, a written question. Our local Dharma teacher is very wise, but sometimes the skillful means are a bit unskillful and bring confusion. How can we support our teacher and ourselves in a difficult time? Thank you.
A Dharma teacher needs time to learn to be a better Dharma teacher. Even the Buddha, in the process of teaching, he learned a lot. If we study the sutras, we will see that. He has experiences on teaching, and that is why he teaches better and better. And I try to do the same. My teaching becomes simpler and simpler every day. Easier and easier every day. So when you receive a lamp transmission to be a teacher, that is just a beginning. And humility helps you to learn. And if you are a member of the Sangha, you should also know that you have to build your teacher. You have to help build your teacher. So my disciples, my students, they help build me. I learn a lot from them. And there are times when I see that there are many things. My disciples, they do it better than myself, and that is why I can learn. So in a Sangha, you have one teacher or two teachers, you have to help build your teacher, to improve the quality of your teacher. And your teacher, and if you are a teacher, you should allow your Sangha to help you, so that you can improve your quality of teaching. And you teach not only with what you say, but how you live your life.
Dear Thai, dear community, my question concerns my difficulty with the impermanence of consciousness. Last April of 2011 at Blue Cliff, I told you I was suffering because my late wife was very traumatic. Her death was very traumatic to me. And I was suffering not knowing if my being with her was in my imagination. And you said, no, but I need to be in touch with myself as a 5-year-old and know that that 5-year-old is in me, to know that she is still in me. And that was wonderful until I read you say that consciousness is, everything is impermanent, including consciousness. And I struggled with this, and I made my peace with it through realizing that it's not my consciousness, that consciousness is is universal, but I still have a hard time reconciling my late wife's death, that she has no consciousness, that while she can communicate through me, I can communicate with her, but I still have a hard time that she has lost her consciousness, that she only experiences this through me.
So we have learned that nothing is lost. A cloud can never die. And a better word to use is the word manifestation. Something manifests itself and stop that manifestation and manifest otherwise. It's like a cloud. If she sees her form of a cloud and she will take the form of the rain or the snow. So it is impossible for a cloud to die. And the other person is like that. She has not died. She has not passed from the realm of being into the realm of non-being. You just do not perceive her continuation.
Has she lost her consciousness?
She has not lost anything. She has not lost anything at all. Her consciousness continues always in other forms. When something does not manifest the way you used to see it, you think that it is no longer there. It's like a dead cloud. When she is no longer a cloud, you think that she does not exist, but she continues always. That is the law of conservation of energy and matter. It's very good law. It corresponds to the Buddhist insight of no birth and no death. So there is nothing increasing and there's nothing decreasing. Increasing and decreasing, that is only on the surface. And that is why something is impermanent. That doesn't mean that something undergoing birth and death. Everything is a continuum, a continuation. And that is why when we look into the sun, you can see the Father. The Son is the continuation of the Father. And Looking deeply into the person of the Son, you may recognize the presence of the Father. You don't call him Father anymore, but he is the continuation of his Father. It's very much in the same stream. And that is why nothing is lost, including her consciousness. Her consciousness, if not manifesting in that way, will manifest in the other way. It's like the sun is offering a lot of light to us. And the sun is growing smaller and smaller every day because the matter of the sun, the mass of the sun is reduced because that mass of the sun is being transformed into light. And one day the sun will disappear because there is no mass left. But that does not mean that the sun is lost. It does not mean that the sun is no longer there. The sun will continue to be there because nothing is lost. So the sunshine, the light is the continuity of the sun, and it is always there in one form or another form, because you cannot destroy energy. Energy is always there. You can transfer energy, but you cannot make energy disappear. The same thing is true with matter. That's why let us train ourselves to look in such a way that our mind is free from the notion of birth and death. When you say that she has lost her consciousness, she has not lost anything, because we do not have enough insight. That is why we see things like that, and that is why meditation is important. We learn a new way of looking, the way of interbeing. And in Buddhism, we do not speak of salvation, liberation in terms of grace, but we speak of salvation, liberation in terms of understanding, prajna, understanding. We are saved from suffering, fear, despair, not by grace, but by understanding. And understanding is the fruit of our practice of meditation, the practice of looking deeply. And if you practice looking deeply in the right way, you can remove the notion of being and non-being, remove the notion of birth and death, remove the notion of increasing or decreasing, remove the notion of subject and object. And that can be very rewarding. And that is why the practice of letting go of notions is very important, very important. And the best way to look is not with the mind of discrimination. The best way to look is with the mind of non-discrimination, free from all these notions. It's very clear in the teaching of the Buddha. Mind and object of mind, they are not two separate things.
My question is not answered, but I will wait till the next retreat. It has to do with, her consciousness is experienced only through me. She experiences